Welcome to the Intelligent Automation and Accounts Payable webinar with the famous Jeff Comer, our Manager of Sales Engineering, and I'm Krause, Principal Consultant here at Naviant Inc., and we're excited to talk to you about intelligence and AP automation. So let's dive right into our agenda because we have a packed agenda for a short time. We're going to start off by talking about an accounts payable overview of just the process, then layer in intelligent technology, the technology that you're going to leverage to be able to improve your AP process. And then we're going to dive into how you can accelerate your AP success, followed up, but not least, the most amazing live demo by Jeff. So you get to see all these cool technologies in action with Jeff. So let's jump right in with a quick quote of one of my favorite quotes by Mark Cuban. The best way to predict the future is to automate it. And this couldn't be more true than in the AP's process space. Automation helps AP departments be more successful and more predictable. So that's what we're going to show you here today. Let's review what an AP process is. For those of you that are newer to the AP space, or perhaps your process varies a little bit from maybe the standard, this is a common one, and we're going to address a lot of the common problems that you see within the AP process. Most of them start off with a PO. You might be like, Chris, I don't do POs. All of mine are non-POs, and that's okay because a lot of the technologies and automation that we're talking about today will improve non-PO processes as well. And suddenly you go to receive the invoice, and oftentimes that's far before you ever get the goods from the manufacturer. You take that invoice, you enter it into the system, and that manual entry can oftentimes be problematic for data accuracy. But once that's entered, try to match that up to that PO, or you route it for approval. And then, of course, you match it up with the goods receipt. So some of you do a two-way match. If you do a three-way match with the goods receipt, that gets approved prior to being approved for payment. And you make that payment into your bank reconciliation, and that process starts all over again for each and every invoice you get. We're going to show you how to make that process a lot better. And no matter where you are in your automation journey within the AP process, we're going to show you tools to help that. This shows you the top 3 stages for an AP automation. Starting on the left, number 1, you may be having all of your invoices come in, and you may be routing them via email or printing and scanning. And if you're doing that scanning, you're doing it late. So you've already got your approvals, you went to someone's desk, you got that email saying it's good to pay. That's level 1. For those of you that have taken that next step, you're capturing those invoices early. You're routing them through perhaps an OnBase workflow or another automated workflow process where that is managing a lot of those approvals and data validations prior to posting. And last but not least, and notice that there's a big cost line. You want to reduce the amount of cost, the amount of time it takes to process an invoice. You're going to leap to stage number 3, where not only you can do early capture, but you're going to take intelligent extraction and automation validation rules into your process. That's where you're going to get the best bang for your buck, and we're going to show you that coming up. So in order to achieve those automation stages, let's talk about what some of those pain points are. So these are the top 4 that we hear all the time, and Jeff tries to demonstrate and show you each and every day. First one is accuracy of the invoice data. If you're manually keying, you definitely have some inaccurate data in your system. Invoice approval management. Getting the approvals for invoices can be very problematic, especially if you're still doing manual routing or managing it in email, because email is cluttered and troublesome. You also probably have had problems where you get this giant surge of invoices at month end, just tangling up and making month end even harder than it is normally to process invoices. And last, you're probably asking yourself, how do I get accurate reporting so I can better manage both my vendors and my AP staff to ensure I'm getting the best throughput? So we're going to show you how we can solve some of those with technology today. So when there's technology to the rescue, you get an avatar of Jeff when he was started in his technology career right in like 1992, and he's going to come save the day with our technology today.
It was a little earlier than that.
And he still has the cape. So our first piece of technology that's going to save the day is ABBYY. ABBYY's been in the automation and intelligent processing space for decades and has a lot of experience specifically with accounts payable. You'll see here they've got 1.5 billion, that's billion with a B invoices processed per year, with a 91% reduction in invoice processing transaction costs and an 81% improvement in invoice processing efficiency. And they work with the biggest companies out there. So they've seen every type of invoice come through their system. And their latest system for processing invoice is called ABBYY Vantage. ABBYY Vantage is a low-code, no-code platform that has skills that Jeff will get to show you here shortly that apply AI technology to better understand your invoices, do fast extraction of that data, and accurately get that data out of the system and into your line of business app. We actually created the Naviant connector to be able to make this from an OnBase to ABBYY Vantage seamless and flawless. So let's take a look at behind the scenes a little bit of what that ABBYY Vantage AI built interface kind of looks like. So you see here, it already does image enhancement, object detection, OCR, classification, the extraction of the data, so it knows it's an invoice and it knows what it has to pull off that invoice. And then it uses natural language processing to take that content and make sure it has it accurately before it exports it out, in our case, OnBase. And you see in that blue box down below, Jeff's going to go into great detail about each and every one of the AI models leveraged in order to achieve the maximum throughput for each stage of the process of processing a single invoice, including the algorithms used in order to get accurate extraction.
Right. Yep. And if you showed up with your AI bingo card, a bunch of you just yelled bingo right now. Pretty much got you covered.
Absolutely. They use the best tools and technology to give you the best results for your AP process. So here is a simplified form of what it looks like to bring in and perform intelligent document imaging within ABBYY Vantage. Invoices are on the far upper left, along with purchase orders, IDs. They have skills for almost every type of form that you need to process. In fact, Jeff did a wonderful demo using the mobile capture and his driver's license ID, and it expertly extracted all the information for the world to see. We now subscribe to LifeLock for Jeff to ensure that he has no personal ID stolen. But you can see we have mobile, email, secure FTP, the API, which is what Naviant uses, to connect into Vantage, share your invoices. It's up in the ABBYY cloud where all of that processing happens, and they manage all of the server needs in order to make sure those AI-hungry LLMs are managed and running efficiently so that you can get your accurate data exported out and back into either your line of business or back into OnBase. And speaking of OnBase, our second piece of technology that many of you may already own or use is OnBase Intelligent Content Automation. You may have started off as just a simple scan, store, retrieve, or you may have layered in some OnBase workflow, the forms, records management, and even WorkView for case management. We're going to show you a few additional modules that make the AP process far more efficient. And of course, with any platform, you want to make sure they are a market leader in the space. Highland OnBase is a market leader from a Gartner Magic Quadrant, and ABBYY is a leader on the PEAK Matrix assessment. So you're working with two of the best products in the marketplace across the portfolio. So where do we take our automation journey? Where do we begin our AP journey? Well, it all starts with
stay here a minute because it's a very soothing slide.
Jeff loves this slide. I think it reminds him of golf. The first step you want to do is take a look at the three different approaches you can use to get.
I'm just going forward. There we go. Sorry about that.
Jeff went for a little ride on us. He was so excited to get to his demo. We've got three key ways that you can approach an AP automation. So your journey starts with, you can use a custom solution. And for many of you that have worked with Naviant before, this is our traditional custom built planning and implementation where you want to have full complex integrations and you have more custom needs maybe than what a point solution can give. A point solution is another option that is a pre-configured approach that offers minimal configuration options and really no enterprise platform. It doesn't give you the extensibility to other areas in the organization like a custom solution approach would give. But the third approach is a hybrid kind of the two called an accelerator solution. The accelerator solution is a pre-configured starting point that allows us about 80% out of the box, ready to go solution that gives you all the best practices baked right into that initial solution, but the flexibility for your individual business needs to customize those last 20%, and then build on that enterprise platform. So extend it to other business areas that could take advantage of the technology. Naviant, of course, created the AP Accelerator. Some of you may even have it in your ecosystem today. And our accelerator takes advantage of the ABBYY Vantage solution. We built a custom connector that takes OnBase content and uploads it to ABBYY, where ABBYY will do that intelligent processing, leveraging the AI and large language models and all of their algorithms to extract the information and bring it back through the connector into OnBase for the workflow process. OnBase then leverages several key tools. One, of course, early capture on mailbox importer, but the OnBase workflow approval management is a fantastic way to manage the actual approvers within your system. We also leverage the OnBase Mobile App, which we'll dive into in a little bit later, and reporting dashboards. So just give you a list of pre-configured reports that you can leverage. So the accelerator gets you off the ground really, really fast, which we'll show you what that looks like in a minute.
And Chris, back to the point that you made, why would somebody who already has the AP Accelerator in their ecosystem be joining us for this webinar? Because they have so much time on their hands now, right?
Absolutely.
All that free time.
Absolutely. And of course, we even have some cutting edge things for them as well because of all that free time. I love that, Jeff. So why would you pick these two? Of course, you get the two industry leading platforms. That's the value. And you get this amazing solution pre-baked to handle everything in your autonomous and automated fashion. So Accelerator brings in the autonomous portion, which is the artificial intelligence and ABBYY processing, and the automation portion, which is the Highland workflow pieces together to work seamlessly to improve your AP process. With the whole goal of being able to obviously reduce the amount of development risk that you have and the time it takes to deliver that solution. So let's go into the process itself. So at a high level, you're still maybe getting some paper invoices, although we see those fewer and fewer, but you can still scan those into OnBase just like you always have for the last couple of decades. And email, whether it's Outlook integration or mailbox importer, you can bring those in and their attachments into OnBase, and OnBase now through the Naviant connector to ABBYY will upload those images to ABBYY, where that OCR and extraction will occur. Then once that's completed, they'll come back and go to the workflow approval management, and that's where we can route it for approvals using the approval apps or our mobile device, and you get to see the reporting dashboards before, once it's completed, it goes out to your ERP for payment processing and that full integration that occurs. So we're going to dive into what that looks like now with a beautiful demo by Jeff.
Thank you, Chris. That was a beautiful introduction to the beautiful demo that hopefully they get to see. All right, on your screen, ABBYY Vantage. So for the first of the four technologies we want to show you today. This has been like one of the funnest tools that I've been introduced to in quite a while. And I've been in the capture space for a long time, and we've seen different variations of capture technologies evolve but almost all of them, we're starting from scratch, right? We've got a great technology, but we have to program it or teach it for the type of content that we want to put it to use with. With the ABBYY Vantage platform, we're starting with a pre-trained set of skills. We have a couple hundred different skills that we can choose from, and we can browse. It's like shopping in the App Store and say, hey, I have some Accord documents from the insurance space. I can use ABBYY Vantage skill to start immediately extracting content out of these types of documents. Or a bill of lading, right? You can just walk down with me here. All of these different pre-configured skills, business cards, a whole, including driver's licenses, as what's his name mentioned. Sorry, Chris. But all these skills are great, right? So we don't have to start from zero. In fact, we can start with not only a skill that's sort of designed for the type of document and data that we want to extract, but it's been trained on millions and millions of documents. So it's super smart right from the get-go. And then we can take these document skills and we can string them together into a process. So we can create our own process that can handle classifying things into different document skills, extracting different data from each of those, and then bringing that data back down, hopefully untouched or unreviewed because of the automation and the accuracy, so that we can achieve the straight through processing Chris mentioned, right? If we can actually receive an invoice and pay an invoice and no one had to look at it, that can really, really free up some time. So the thing we're going to focus on here today is the invoice skill, and give you a little bit of a deeper dive into that. And I have a few here that I've uploaded, some samples. We'll just grab a few of them here and take a quick look. So here's the ABBYY Vantage document skill, trained on invoices, and it's doing automated extraction of the different fields that we need and populating them over here to the right. So I can see where I got my invoice number, my date, where it's extracting out vendor information. It's even doing a lookup into my vendor master information and grabbing my vendor ID, so that when this information comes back into my OnBase system, I can marry it up with other data and approval rules and business rules, and really keep things moving along quickly. In addition to extracting this sort of header information and the footer information, like the total amount, this tool can also extract all of the line item data from really complex invoices too. So it's really smart, and it can adapt to all of the different variations that we see in invoices. You'll see here as I go from one to the next, that the fields are in totally different orientation, but the data extraction is still occurring very, very easily. And if for some reason it did get a field that incorrect that I want to change, I can just simply click, not this field, but this field. And it'll take that new field information. It's going to bring that down with this particular document, but it's also going to make a note of that. And that's where the machine learning algorithm's kicking in, and it's going to start getting better and better and noticing nuances where it wasn't able to process something day one 100% effectively. By day two or by day three, it's going to have that mastered. So really cool to have these new technologies working for us to be able to help us with this really, pretty tedious task of extracting data and getting all of these values correctly into our downstream systems. That's a quickie view of ABBYY Vantage, Chris. Let's jump back and take a look at the next thing on our list.
Thank you, Jake. That was that was beautiful. I was really impressed with that demonstration.
You can call me Jake.
That was actually, though, my favorite part of the ABBYY Vantage is that it does do a lot of its own learning and education along the way. The algorithms are extremely strong, but it just showed that is a very easy way that the end user corrects a couple of times, and next thing you know, they're never doing that again until they, of course, as for those of you experienced in the area, if a vendor totally changes their invoices, you do it a couple of times and now it's done, and it makes things faster, and that is the key. So jumping ahead now, so that's ABBYY Vantage, right? That's ABBYY OCR. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next big critical piece that can really make your life easier in the AP process, and that is workflow approval management. So workflow approval management has been in OnBase for a while, but it dynamically assigns approvers and gives you the ability to, as the business, manage it, which is my favorite part, because OnBase admins are busy enough. Let the business, let the AP department manage it. And so to take a look what this is, because it may not make a lot of sense, let's have Jeff show you exactly what that means.
Great. And while I'm bringing this up, Stay logged in here.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that it has been around a while. In the past, it was an optional module that you could add to your system with the new simplified pricing model. If you are on the simplified pricing, standard user, so the workflow enabled user can access this workflow automation management for included, right? It's included with that license. So it's very cool.
That's a great point, Jeff. The fact that it's included in free, everybody's favorite word.
Right. And speaking of free, so here we're looking at our web client, the OnBase web client, and I'm at the status view area, and I've created my own little status view workspace here called Jeff's Workspace. If you have the web client and you're not using status view, I encourage you to give it a look. Everybody can create their own little personalized space where they have quick access to all of the things that they want to be able to get to quickly, kind of like the personal page on the Windows client. If you use the Unity client, you can do that even with a richer experience, and you can just add new widgets to this, and you can move things around and really increase the just the efficiency where you're getting the job done. So if I come over here, let's get to our workflow approval management. So on my navigation ribbon here, right below workflow, if I have permissions, I can access this workflow approval configuration tool. And this is really slick, as Chris said, we constantly have changes to what we call our schedule of authority, right? And things can be changing because our business is changing. Things can be changing because the economy is changing, right? So that we're now going to introduce more approvals. We are going to, more things need to be signed off while the economy is poor, or we've had changes in our organizational structure. All of these things in the past could have resulted in us having to go into our workflows and make configuration changes with our IT staff. Now we can make these changes really quickly and easily. So if I'll jump back here where I'm talking, I've got a bunch of different paths for approval configured here. I'm going to take this invoice approval path here and kind of just drill into it a little bit further. And you can see I can have some rules in my path that are automated. So they're just it's automatically going to take a step based upon some business rule. And others are going to take a step based upon data. So here, for example, if I have an invoice that's coming and designated for human resources department approval, I can jump into a path for just human resources, and they can define their own tiers of approval. So I can say, okay, for if it's under 1,000, anybody in this group of users can approve it. If it's between 5,000 and 10,000, I need everybody in this group to approve it, right? And I have this really great user experience over here where I can add additional rules. I can change things. If I need to change something to, a higher dollar value, I can do that with a click. And all of a sudden, and instantly, these rules, when I hit save, these rules are put into effect. I better hit save just so we don't get a warning here. And the other thing that's really cool, so I can change the rules on the fly. I can how many approvals I need under what conditions, but I can also use this tool to manage who's doing the approvals, right? So that's also a moving target. People are going on vacation, people are getting sick, people move between departments or different roles within the organization. I can very easily click on the replace approver. I can grab a user, and let's say we're going to replace Cindy with a different approver, and we'll just go ahead and grab Bob. And so I'm going to replace Cindy as an approver at this level with Bob, and I'm going to not only give him the future ones, but the existing ones, and hit OK. And it's done. So immediately, all of the documents and workflow that were assigned to Cindy have been reassigned to Bob. Bob's going to get notifications that he's got work to do. So very cool way for us to manage and adapt our process to changing conditions, and a nice intuitive interface.
That is so awesome, Jeff. I love that replace approver because that is one thing that comes up all the time when someone's out, and and definitely has an impact on how fast you process your invoices when those people are out. And by making a seamless interface like that, you see the productivity levels jump up. So we
Right
did
on.
number one, the ABBYY extraction and AI intelligent automation. We did number two, which is the workflow approval management. So you can see how you can manage your schedule of authority very cleanly. Now we're going to leapfrog into number three, which is our approval apps. And like WAM, for those on simplified pricing, OnBase Application Builder is a free module. Yes, you heard it here first, free, as a Foundation 23.1, where you get to build your own application for your end user. That's a very clean, simple interface. And we could talk a lot about it, but your AP personas, we're going to want to see it. And the best person to show you that is Jeff. Let's see it in action.
The best person who happens to be on this meeting with you at this particular time. So
Within 15 seconds, we did it.
right. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm as excited about this new capability as I am about the ABBYY Vantage tool that we looked at. This, you know, for years I've been talking about how, with the Windows application, how to use the personal page and create custom queries and shortcuts to make things intuitive for people to learn how to navigate and do things. And then when with the web client, how to use status view, as I just showed you, to really, again, create something that's very personal for an individual. Because these tools, as Chris showed you, a lot of capabilities, which means there's lots of menus, lots of options, lots of buttons to click, and you can control some of that with roles and permissions, but there's still a lot for an individual to learn. And with App Builder, we can now create a standalone application that has exactly what we need and nothing more. Here I have a one for AP. I also have one for HR here that I could show that we've created, but they're easy to navigate. I've got a little dashboard here. I've got shortcuts for things. I could use this to launch into the ABBYY tool for doing any type of verification I need to do. I can click and launch a form if I need to fill out a form for somebody and submit that form. I'm going to just cancel and go back. I can see different workflow items here, and I can just click and access them. So there's just shortcuts for me. I can search and find things. Everything's just a click away. And I also have individual screens here where I can see more detail for those items. So for example, here's one for my workflow for all of the different queues that I'm assigned to. If I'm responsible for dealing with missing invoices with missing vendors, I can see these individual items. I can click, I can open them, I can see things like notes, I can see my keyword data, and I can see my workflow actions. I can just go ahead and click on these workflow actions and complete the work right here from the screen.
And my
I
favorite
can,
part about those workflow actions is you can label those differently than what they're labeled in your workflow admin. So if the admin labeled it one thing, but in AP you call it something else, you can make that label be exactly what you call it.
good point. Yep, you can really make things very intuitive for people. It's what you would be able to expect to do, searching for documents, super easy. Sort, group, filter, so we can sift through the information and very easily here. And of course, reporting. As Chris mentioned, dashboards give us a great view of where things are. They can direct us to the items that need most immediate attention, like the items shaded in red, and we can drill and filter and do all of the things with the dashboards in this app builder experience that we can do in the other line of business apps. I just want to take one more second. I know we're running kind of short on time here, Chris, but I do want to show how easy it is to build these applications. So all of this is embedded right in your OnBase Studio. So the same place where you're building your workflows and doing another configuration for OnBase, we now have a tab for App Builder, and you can create as many apps as you want. There's no cost associated with this. You could create one for AP, one for HR, one for IT. You could create 6 for AP. You could have department managers can have their own view versus AP clerks and the supervisors and senior leadership. Everybody can have their own purpose-built, role-based application to be able to be as efficient and effective as possible.
That's a great point, Jeff. And they are very easy to build, as Jeff just showed you. And I do love that use case of having the approvers do it, because they're not in OnBase every day like a lot of AP clerks. So it has made it much easier for them to go in and do their approvals. All right, so that takes us through our third enhancement to the AP process. Let's dive into the fourth, which is OnBase Mobile. So the new OnBase Mobile app, for those of you that have been around a long time, you know OnBase Mobile has been around. It used to be individualized to the device that you had. Now you've got a single interface that works with every type of device, whether you're iOS or Android. Unfortunately, they deprecated all the BlackBerries, so Jeff had to upgrade to iOS, but this is an amazing now opportunity for you to extend and improve the efficiency of your AP process. Jeff, let's see what this mobile looks like. This new mobile looks like. And the new mobile is free as well.
And by the way, I haven't seen recently that there's an attachment you can get for your iPhone that gives you the BlackBerry keyboard back. So, all right. So, sorry, I started clicking before I started talking here. So here's the OnBase mobile interface here. We basically have four categories, default categories here. All the things that you need to be able to do on the fly, right? Interacting with content from OnBase. We can search for documents. We can see items in workflow and take action on them. We can bring content into OnBase from outside, and we can access, of course, Unity forms. So just real quick on the search side of things here, I can, use all of the same queries that I can use inside of OnBase. I can find a hit list of documents. I can open a document. I can view the document. I can view the keyword data on that document. And if I want to, I can create notes, right? I can just go ahead and add different annotations and, sticky notes and all of the things that we can do from within OnBase. If I jump over to workflow, as you might imagine, I can see things like, and of course I have a super user here, so I get to see lots of workflow. But I can pick an individual document. I can see, again, the keywords, the related documents, all of the notes, and in addition, I can see the ad hoc actions. So I can approve an invoice from the airport, from my kid's school, wherever I happen to be, and keep the processes moving along. So we can help people achieve that sort of life balance that we talk about, wanting to be able to help people with technology tools like this. And the last one I'll talk about, just in the interest of time here, is the upload, which is really handy. So we can capture things at the point they're happening. We can capture receipts for an expense report or a packing slip out on the receiving dock, and get that stuff up into OnBase immediately and have it be part of our approval process. So we're not waiting on that piece of information to progress things down through the process. So really cool technology and really easy to deploy.
Great point, Jeff. And the camera actually was used for damaged items as well. So if you receipt that order, but there was a partial pallet damage and you're like, I'm not going to pay all of it, and you clip that picture, send it up, and instantly now in accounts payable, you understand why that particular invoice was denied or you wanted to short pay that invoice. So 4 excellent use cases for improving and accelerating your AP process. But if you already have an AP solution, like I do some of these things already. Well, the exciting part is the technologies and the tools and the functionality that we've shown you, you can add to your existing solution, and you can pick one or all of them in order to improve in your AP automation and accelerate your AP process today. So let's review those key pain points one more time. Now that you've filled with all this amazing information and Jeff's dynamic demo, we've solved the riddle of accuracy in your invoice data with ABBYY OCR, Intelligent Automation AI Extraction. Your invoice approval management is seamless and easy and managed at the business level with OnBase Workflow Approval Management, or WAM. That surge at the end of the month is no longer going to be a problem with the app builder because your users will be laser focused in on getting their work done, including all of your remote approvers. And your accuracy in your reporting, like he showed you with the dashboards, are solved with OnBase dashboards in our pre-configured dashboard bundle that includes now up to 100 dashboards in total, with about 8 for AP exclusively. So pain points gone, cured no more. Wow, we covered a lot in a very short time, Jeff. And of course, we would like you to learn a lot more. And so if you want to see more, you can go to ABBYY University, where you can learn all about the ABBYY Vantage product itself from either the business analyst view or the developer view. They'll share all that content for free. And if you want to take any of these particular OnBase modules for a test spin, you can at try.onbase.com. Your Highland community login will take you right in, and you'll be able to try this out on their environment. Or you can go to Highland University in order to check out more about workflow approval management, application builder, or reporting dashboards, mobile, a full litany of learnings before you. So with that, we appreciate you joining us on the intelligent AP automation journey, and we're excited to hear how you're going to jump into it today. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.